All right, let's talk hazmat. I know. Getting that endorsement can feel like you're trying to climb a mountain of regulations. But here's the good news. It's not as tough as it looks. And in the next few minutes, we're going to crack that code together. We'll give you exactly what you need to ace that test. So you ready? Let's get into it. So let's start with a question. You've got explosives, right? And then you have certain gases and flammable solids. What in the world do they all have in common? I mean, they seem totally different. Well, the government actually lumps them all together under one big important name, hazardous materials. And there it is. That's the key definition you've got to know. A hazardous material is basically anything that poses a risk to health, safety, or property when you're moving it. Simple, right? But that one sentence, that's the reason this whole rulebook exists. If it's dangerous on the move, it's hazmat. You'll also see it shortened to, well, hazmat, or sometimes just HM in the official regs. Okay, let's get into the why. Why are there so many rules? I promise you, it's not just to make your life difficult or the test harder. There's a really, really good reason for every single one of these regulations. It all boils down to protection. Think of it like a three-layered shield. First, these rules are here to protect you, the driver. Second, they're here to protect the public, all those other cars and people on the road. And third, they protect the environment. So when you think about it, these aren't just rules. They're your best friend on the road, your safety net. All right, so who's actually responsible for all this stuff? Moving hazmat safely is a team sport, and you have to know who's playing what position. It's not just about you driving the truck. It's a chain of responsibility, and every single link in that chain has to be strong. And this breaks it down perfectly. You've got two main players, the shipper and you, the carrier or driver. The shipper's job is all about prep. They package the stuff, they slap the labels on, they get the shipping papers ready, and they give you the emergency info. Then it comes to you. Your job? You're the gatekeeper, the final inspector. You double-check their work, make sure your truck is placarded correctly, and then, and only then, you transport it safely. Think about it. You are the last line of defense before that truck hits the road. Now, what about your boss? Your employer has a huge part to play too. They are legally, and I mean legally, required to give you all the hazmat training and testing you need. They also have to keep a record of it. And listen, this is not a one-and-done kind of thing. You've got to get retrained at least every 3 years. No exceptions. Okay, so we know who does what. Now, how does everyone talk to each other about the danger? How do you know what you're hauling? Well, think of it like learning a new language. It's a language of risk, and it's spoken with papers, labels, and big signs on the side of your truck. And this whole communication system really comes down to 3 main tools. Just 3 things to remember. First, you've got your shipping papers. That's the detailed story. Second, you have the package labels for the up-close and personal warning. And third, you've got the big vehicle placards, which shout warning to everyone else on the road. Let's talk about those shipping papers. Honestly, this is probably the single most important piece of paper in your cab. It's the complete biography of what's in your trailer, and the law is super strict about this. When you're driving, those papers have to be within your immediate reach and in plain sight. Why? Because if something goes wrong, you or an emergency responder needs that info, and they need it fast. Okay, tool number 2, package labels. You know the ones, those diamond-shaped stickers? This is another perfect example of that chain of responsibility we talked about. It's not your job to put these on. The shipper, they are the ones responsible for labeling every single package correctly before you even lay eyes on it. All right, get ready to burn this number into your brain. 4. The magic number is 4. If your vehicle needs placards, you need at least 4 of them. Not 3, not 2. 4. 1 on the front, 1 on the back, and 1 on each side. The idea is simple. No matter where someone is looking from, they need to see that warning. Now, besides the usual placards, there are a couple of special markings you've got to keep an eye out for. If you see something that says poison inhalation hazard or poison gas, that's a whole other level of serious. Same thing with the marine pollutant marking. It's this white triangle with a little fish on it. When you see those, you know you need to be extra, extra careful. So you might be wondering, how does a shipper know what to call this stuff or which label to use? They're not just guessing. There's an official rule book, a dictionary for all things hazmat, and it's called the Hazardous Materials Table. This table is basically the master list of every hazardous material out there. Yeah, it's technically in Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulations, which sounds super official and scary, right? But trust me, once you see how it works, it's actually pretty simple to use. So here's a little peek at it. See how it's organized? It's just alphabetical, based on the material's proper shipping name. That's it. It's just like using a phone book, if anyone remembers those. You just find the name of what you're looking for, and boom, the table tells you its hazard class and what labels it needs.
So the big takeaway here is that this table is the ultimate authority. It's the single source of truth. It gives you the official name for the material, its hazard class, and it tells the shipper exactly what warning labels they have to use. There's no room for guessing in this business.
Okay, we've talked about the rules, we've talked about who's responsible for what, and we've talked about the language of risk. So now let's put it all together. Let's talk about your final safety check, the stuff you absolutely have to do before you even think about starting that engine. This is your Hazmat pre-trip. It's super simple, just 3 questions you have to ask yourself every single time. 1, are my shipping papers correct and right where I can grab them? 2, did the shipper label all the packages correctly? And 3, is my truck placarded properly on all 4 sides? If the answer to any of those is no, you stop. You don't go anywhere until it's fixed, period. And if you ever wonder why all this detail matters so much, this right here is the reason. Think about it. If something goes wrong on the road, who's showing up? Firefighters? Police? They need to know what they're walking into, and your correct paperwork and placards tell them exactly that. What you do in your pre-trip could literally save a first responder's life. It's that important. So there you have it. That's the Hazmat code, cracked. The rules make sense, the system works, but the stakes are incredibly high. So when it comes down to it, this isn't just about memorizing facts to pass a test. The real question is, are you ready for the responsibility? Because that's what this endorsement is really all about.